disclosure, I'd like to tell you that my grandson, Adrian, forced me to do this. He figured after a whole day listening to young speakers, what better way to anyway than giving two old dreamers. Myself and not playing the front act for him. He's the star today. So when Adrian brought the idea to me about late last year, I told him, what do you want me to talk about? I'm old, I'm 73, but he said, you've always been a dreamer. And I thought to myself, he's right. I recall a question from my nephew, where is enough for you? Where is enough? I've been practicing for almost 50 years, and I'm still dreaming. And for the audience in this group, I'd like to tell you that you should not stop dreaming. I caught the lecture of Alvin Black, incredible, 25 years old, full of dreams. You should do that. So anyway, I'll tell you my story, and I'll tell you where I came from and what I'm doing now. Can I have the first slide? First, I can't see. First slide. I need the slide to, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I want to start my talk by relating to you my favorite poem. It's by Robert Frost. For those of you who don't know, it's a very famous poet in America. You see, I can't read. Basically, it says that all in life, you're always faced with choices. You have to make a choice, either this way or that way, and you can never tell at the time of your decision whether the choice was right or not. Well, for me, I'm a child of India. My parents came to the Philippines as a Chinese, as the poor, illiterate peasants, well-raised dollars. For those of you who don't know the history of the Chinese diaspora all over the world, it's all the same story. You scratch a Chinoy person in the Philippines, it's the same story, came from poverty and famine, coming to Davao. Why Davao? Because Davao at that time was a community made up of mostly immigrants from one town of my parents. So they came in the 1930s, escaping civil war and famine. And at that time, there was nothing much to eat. Poverty and almost nothing, because the southern part of China was very barren. It's still very barren. It's full of water. That's why the best nations are found in southeastern part of China. They are part of this big diaspora in the 1930s, when all the Chinese there moved out to Southeast Asia, to the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. And my parents, as I said, came to Davao and started life. And we had, my parents had 10 children. I was born in the 1950s, and I was part of a big family. There I am in the there. I grew up in Davao, not really poor because I was number 8 already. So my parents did a lot of work, mostly just I helped in the store, just like all the Chinese immigrants can. We all helped in the stores. And this is taken about 15 years old. And during the next 10 years or 20 years, there was so much unrest in the Philippines. I remember an advice from one of my family friends in Davao that I should leave the Philippines because there was no hope. But in spite of that, I persevered and finished my schooling in 1975 in UST. And then I married my childhood sweetheart and left for the US. Young wife in tow, I started my residency. To become a resident, you have to go foreign doctors. You know, America is still the Mecca. It was the Mecca 50 years ago when I went there. It's still the Mecca now. But for those of you who want to go abroad for training, it's still a very wide open field because America is a land of immigrants. They welcome immigrants and they welcome people from all over the world. So I was able to land a job as a resident in surgery at the University of Pennsylvania, where my two eldest sons, two older children were born. And I spent about 5 years there and went on to New York, where I trained. I was very lucky to train at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Center. At that time, the #1 cancer center in all of the United States. And after that, I stayed in Los Angeles and practiced my specialty as a surgical oncologist. And I practiced in big hospitals. But then, something happened to me. I hit a crossroad, you know. At that time, I had already 4 kids in tow, and but something was missing inside me. I was missing the family ties, the culture, the Asian culture of America, but then of the Philippines. And at that time, I had a great job. I built a house, all the luxuries of life. I had everything with me. I had fortune, security, and much more opportunities. I joined the biggest oncology group in Southern California, in Los Angeles. But then something was pulling me back to the Philippines. This is because of family. And most, I think for myself, family ties is the most important. So I put up everything, throw out everything, brought my 4 kids back to Manila. And then I've been here since 1993, and today is my 31st year of practice in the Philippines. The question is, am I still working? A lot of people, a lot of my colleagues are all retired. And the first question from most of my patients is, Doctor, are you still operating? I said, of course. So, right now, for this particular audience, I'd like to share with you my personal story. So these are the questions that I ask myself all the time. Am I better off? Is my family better off? If I made the living, and did I make the right choice? All of you are making choices. Many kids. So, but it's good to be reflective. You have to keep reflecting on your decision. So the first question, well, this is the truth. The 4 young kids that I told back to Manila 30 years ago went on to become doctors. And my oldest son is the father of Adrian. I have Brian, who is a plastic surgeon. I have Shari, who is a derm surgeon. I have Kevin, who is an internist. And Christian, another surgeon of all and these are the families. So, for me, as a family now, I feel so blessed and so successful. So, but the next question is, have I made an impact in the Philippine society? Well, when I first started, like any aspiring doctor, I told you I'm not from Manila, I'm from Davao, I'm a foreigner. So, but I joined the faculty of the University of Texas, where I graduated from, and also the University where I taught surgery and surgery. At the same time, I started my practice at the big hospitals in Manila, St. Louis, Maria Santos, and the Chinese General Hospital. So, overall, my impact is, I think, for myself and my family, that is the past year. These are the next few slides I will share with you. We create reports in all our positions. I was listening to earlier speakers, and they are all very young. And myself and the Michaels will tell you the reflections of all men trying to join me towards the sunset. But we create reports. And because of the good people we create, we influence others. one example was I recall my patient, which I took care of about 20 years ago, Dr. Warner.
And you also have
at that
the
time,
patients.
he had cancer, and we had our own team, surgeons, chemotherapy, and we were able to create. He survived for about almost 20 years. And during that time that he survived, he was able to build 3 hospitals.
Especially if
He's
it's
up in again, and also in the university, we're now enrolling 6,000 people. As a doctor,
when I was not
individually, you only have one patient at a time. But the patient you help takes more difficult. And in this case, I'm very, very proud to be associated with Dr. Guzman, who continued this lifelong mission to bring education and healthcare to the northern part of the Philippines. And in fact, he was so grateful that he named an operating room at the medicine. So right now, I'm a medical director of Chinese General Hospital, a 130-year-old hospital. It's a very old institution with no marketing at all. The hospital was started to help the Chinese community at that time, during that time, in this high time. And we have evolved to become one of the biggest hospitals in Metro Manila. In fact, we are the only 2. The other one is St. Luke's and one St. John Hospital. These are non-profit hospitals. The rest of the hospitals in Metro Manila are all privately owned and owned by big conglomerates. So China is still doing a lot of charity work. We are located in the Sampaloc area, where a lot of poor people live. So most of the Chinese patients are now being treated at Yobal, St. Luke's, and Pagana. But Chinese General stuck with vision. Firstly, to help the Chinese community, but now mostly Filipino community. We are a center of training for a lot of specialties. And founded, like I said, 130 years ago. Okay, now it's encompassing whole series of building. We have a medical school, nursing school, a school of radiology, and dental. It's a small, modest medical school system. About the medical school environmental colleges, about 1,100 students. So, what lessons should I share with you today? Well, I want to talk about the practice of medicine. The Philippine healthcare practice here in the Philippines, all over the country, is 60% private and 40% public. For the rest of Asia, is the other way around. In one way, because the Philippine health system is patterned after the United States, and the U.S. health system is driven by the private industry. For the rest of Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, is driven by government. And but that's the reality here. Data from 2015, most of our population is still rural, 51%, and 49% rural. Now, look at this. I want you to pay attention to that. I'm sorry about the quality, but the blue bar from the year 2016 to last year, you notice that there's a drop in the number of doctors in the Philippines. And the reason is because the 4 years of COVID, 3 years of COVID, had influenced the number of young people going to school. And I want to share with you today that the medical profession is still a very noble profession. So it helps between, especially in the country in the 50s, we need more doctors. Now, you're still very young, high school, you're going to pre-med and then doctor. Right now, when you become a doctor, there are 2 paths, the private and the government practice. as I said earlier, most of the doctors end up in private hospitals. But then, I noticed since I came back 30 years ago, there's a change in the government hospitals. For one thing, the allocation for government hospitals have increased tremendously the last several years, especially during the pandemic. You know, the government went into deficit spending, and COVID has enabled a lot of hospitals, especially the government hospitals, to expand because the national government borrowed a lot of money to help the COVID increase. To the point that most of our COVID mortality is lower compared to the rest of Asia. And you'd be surprised to know that. I was at the forefront of COVID care because Chinese general was acting like a government hospital. We were absorbing a lot of COVID, especially like in the Navy. The salaries of government doctors now have increased tremendously. When I came home 30 years ago, the average salary for a government doctor is like 15,000. Now they're going to about 100,000 a month. So there's a rising salary scale, and we are attracting more and more bright young doctors to the government service. And the last maybe 2 or 3 years, the Department of Health has already improved a lot of funding and improving the facilities. And there's the decentralization of healthcare to the local government units. And the enactment of the universal health care law and the national integrated cancer care law in the last 3 years, in the last 5 years, have enabled more and more patients to avail of the direct government funding. So and I think that's very good because PhilHealth has been subject to a lot of criticism, but I think PhilHealth has improved a lot. Right now, the objective of the government is to provide 100% health care to all Filipinos. The compensation is not much, about 39,000. But it's not better than before, which is zero. So with that, we are anticipating that there will be more funding for health, and opportunities for doctors, for young doctors, are limitless. I can recall the Philippines now is like what Taiwan was 30 years ago. Taiwan enacted the national health coverage about 1990, and it enabled small private hospitals to make a lot of money because the government pays for it. I can see in the future in the Philippines that we will have better health facilities, both government and private. So for you young persons facing the audience, if you have to consider becoming a doctor, follow your dream. You know, another good thing about the government is there's a lot of government universities. We have the local, like Pagkakas and Manila, we have the national, the University of the Philippines, and all the state schools. They offer scholarship to deserving students. So if you have not much money, that should not be able to you. Also, Mark mentioned that earlier about following your dreams. Do not let monetary consideration limit your dream, because there's always something that will help you to fulfill your dreams. Now, I want to say something about the National Integrated Cancer Act. In the Philippines, the #1 killer is heart, but #2 is cancer. It used to be infectious, but I think the advancement of microbiology and antibiotic. So we have less mortality from infectious disease. It's not the same 50 years ago when people were dying from TB, from other infectious diseases. The government did a lot of good for TB because they now get free TB medicine, and also the established sports. In the old days, every infected mother maybe is not becoming not a real problem anymore. So the government passed a law on national answering immediate act. This is to bring the benefits of modernity to cancer care. One example I can think of is when we have cancer that needs radiation therapy. It used to be very expensive. Now we have problems up to about 100,000 a year. That's incredible. A lot of people now are surviving because of the help of the government. And the National Immediate Cancer Act enables the government to provide funding for cancer care, even for the poor patients. So, therefore, there is a continuing demand for physicians and healthcare workers. The opportunities to help many people are limitless. And the rewards are many, and the opportunity to serve a country should be utmost in the time. We are lucky, our population dynamic is very good. We have a lot of young people growing up. We should encourage young people to go into the field of medicine. So anyway, for this group, when Adrian asked me to give a talk here, I thought it was the privileged Xavier boys. It turned out that most of them were from the public school, and I'm happy to know that. But even in public school, I'm sure you're better off now compared to your parents 3 years ago. So count your own blessing. Number 2, share your blessing. Talent, as a that, you share it. And number 3, every profession is worthwhile, as long as it contributes to society. In anything you do, any profession, as long as you help other people, is more fulfilling. I'm almost end of my life. Working hard for something you don't care about is called stress. That's why I don't believe in burnout. As if you love your job, you'll never be stressed out. Working hard for something you love so much. That's why myself and other people are still working. We'll be working also last week. And lastly, this is a slide I got from the lecture of Adrian when he was 12 years old. He was asked to compete in Korea, I think. I was going to show the film, but that's too much for him. So I got this slide from his talk when he was 12 years old. He says, when he ordered for 10 parents, blind, I'm only one, but still I'm one. I can do everything, but I still can do something. I will not refuse to do something for anyone. And it's very exciting to know that now, maybe change. This thing I did, and this is my last slide. I want to read it, but I can't, it's too small. I shall be telling this to the side, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads gathered to the wood, and I looked at the one less traveled by, and that has made a difference in my life. Thank you all very much.